Yeah. Oh, we got to do that again. Okay.
7,
hold on.
6.
All right. Go ahead. Clap. What? All right. I guess that's a clap. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Now I plug in.
Read all about it. Read all
Again?
about
We're reading all about it again. Okay.
Extra. International edition of Sunday Papers.
Sunday Papers.
Coming to you all the way from Costa Rica.
Yeah. Look at this sun.
Oh, look at you. You're right in the hot spot there.
Yeah, I'm by the equator, man.
That's not
I'm
going to
right
help
above
your
Panama.
rosacea and your sunburn.
I know. I am so white, man. Because when you get older, no matter actually what, I imagine even very dark people feel you get more sensitive as you get older. So I'm whiter is the long way of saying it. I'm even whiter than I've been my whole life, I realize. Because now I'm in my 50s and a 95-degree sun near the equator, I'm running from it.
We were just talking about how white men are getting treated in this country right now. And
wait, no, we weren't. You were talking because we don't complain like that. You were talking about a dinner party where some of the white wives, who we know very well, I guess I wasn't there, but they launched an assault.
Yeah, they had a few too many glasses of wine, and white men started to become a moniker, like a disparaging moniker, where white men this and white men that. It's like, hey, we're fucking sitting right here. What did I do? What the fuck did I do to you? I bought the wine that you're drunk on.
Yeah, the white wine. And then I told you that wine. I wish I were there because I'd be like, hey, I didn't choose to be a white guy. You chose to spend the rest of your life with a white man. Like you're the one who's fucked.
Right. Walk the walk, sister.
I've never chosen to be with a white man.
Yeah. Yeah. Walk the walk. And it causes me to start feeling like all those guys that I can't stand who are so anti-woke. Because I'm not anti-woke, but I'm also not woke. I'm just a guy who's trying to take life on from I've always treated people with dignity. I have made mistakes in my life like anybody, but for the most part, I'm a good person. And to get treated that way makes you want to fight those people. And that should not be their goal. They should not be creating antipathy towards themselves or the causes they are professing to support.
Also, think about it. You're criticizing white men. Are we going to handle it well? According to you, we haven't handled anything well. Now we're being attacked? That's not going to go well.
Right.
Yeah.
Read your history books, girls.
Yeah, we're going to come back at you with a misguided shock and awe.
Speaking of which...
what was so evil? I wasn't at this dinner. What was an example? Like, how did it get going?
We're talking about how, as white writers, we're not getting jobs. And they were saying, well, nobody wants to hear that story anymore. They don't want to hear the white man's story. They want to hear other stories.
Oh, they can go right to fucking hell because we're not even allowed to write in any other person's voice because then we get in trouble for that.
Right. Exactly. That's cultural... what do you call it? Appropriation. If we write in somebody else's voice and then nobody wants us in our own voice. So look, and all of a sudden I'm catching myself sounding like that guy. I'm not that guy. I
don't know. Look at you. You look like that guy, dude.
I do look like that guy. But
You're
I
in
have
your
written
bunker.
On mostly black shows in my life and Latino shows and gay shows. And I've written for everybody. I can write in anybody's voice. But not today, I can't.
No. I told you my divorce one. I have a good idea anyway. It's my story based on me, my divorce. But I thought, switch it. It's much more appealing, successful, the breadwinner woman and, sick of paying whatever, alimony and stuff. And then I'm like, oh, and even the agents in town are like, oh, so you're creating the show where the woman's the lead? It's so crazy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, 9 to 5, the movie 9 to 5, the fucking epic tale of female empowerment and fighting back, written by a guy. It was written by a man and a woman together. But
I could tell.
He did most of the writing.
He did the logical parts. Remember that great line? And I'm laughing and so is Greg, because there's clearly a meta quality to this. It's so funny to sound so pigheaded. But in As Good as It Gets, Jack Nicholson was a famous author, and the woman runs up to him and goes, "Oh my God, I love you. I love your writing. And your female character is like, how do you write so well for a female?" And he's like, "Well, I write it's the same for a man, but I remove all accountability." It might have even been something else too, like logic and accountability or something. But accountability was one which is very well thought out. Like that was specific.
Yeah. No, we were talking about like one of the guys that was there is a very, very successful writer director. He's written films. He directed one of the biggest TV shows in history for a decade. Very accomplished. Can't get a job as a professor teaching what he did for the last 30 years because he's a white man.
No, I applied very, very loosely. Like I did a digital thing to UCLA. Yeah, and then didn't even hear back. And then I looked at some of the adjunct professors and I'm like, that person had one job.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Like I would see the adjunct professors, I'd look them up on IMDb. I'm like, what? And there it's a backfire. It's like, no. Have the class be diverse as all get out. And I'll tell you all the secrets. I'll tell you all the tricks. Like, why not learn from the sort of, the patriarchal, why not learn from the patriarchy? Like, here, do this, and
you can become the new patriarchy. Yeah.
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 Like, keep me out of jobs, but have me teach the new generation. Wouldn't that make sense?
And for anybody that's tuning in and going like, oh, let me check out this new podcast. Oh, great. It's two more white guys complaining about being white. This isn't really, we don't talk about this much. I only brought it up because it was so pronounced last night. And it was from people that I respect and like. But they're living in a world where they are at companies that are so under the microscope of diversity that all their hires have to be diverse. Literally, every project they do has to be the voice of something.
A new show, a major, I can't say what it is, but was announced, and it's on network and all that. And I expressed interest and was just told flat out they are not considering any resumes for the top spots that are not diverse.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
So
double negative there.
All right. We'll get to Dilbert later. Guess which side we're on.
I don't even know. You're gonna have to tell me about that story. I missed that one somehow.
So tell me where you are, what you've been doing, what your experience is.
Costa Rica. I've never been to Central America. It's beautiful. It's great. Haven't seen, the famous monkeys that are here. Haven't done the jungle, just the beach. And working a little too much, but that was the idea. It's not like a full vacation. And anyway, it's great. You've been here.
I have been there, and watch those monkeys. They'll take your shit if it's shiny. Don't wear a watch. Don't wear a necklace.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but they're very cute. It's an incredibly safe place because Costa Rica is one of the few places in Central America where there's never been political upheaval. There's never been any kind of civil war. It's just somehow been buffered from all of that.
Well, I love it. Just having a good time.
Yeah. Good.
I just got a little spacey. Yeah. So it's good.
There you go.
But it's hot. It is hot.
Uh-huh. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Well, that was great, Mike. We have a podcast where we talk about our lives, and I fucking tee you up, and you just, I don't know what that was.
Well, I don't know what to say, really. I haven't had any like crazy experiences. I'm trying to remember them. Like I haven't gone on any expeditions or anything. It's actually, it's a work trip for Hannah. And I'm helping her with that. And then I have had annoying Zooms that I've had to do.
Yeah.
And so we're in an amazing location, but it's not a full like, oh my God, we went zip lining. Oh my
Okay.
God, we rented jet skis. It's like whenever we get a break, we run down to the ocean or we lay out, try to lay out. As soon as you're dry, you're like, I'm done. It's too hot.
Yeah, when we went, it was also super hot, and we went on these kayaks through. If you go to the north, we were in the central part of Costa Rica. There's a lake called Lake Arenal, which is incredible, and it's got a bunch of what do you call it? Mineral springs, and you go to one, and it's got 10 different levels, and the higher you go, the hotter it is, and so there's pools on 10 different levels, and they go from like room temperature to so scalding you can't even get in, and then you get massages by the side of it, and
Wow.
And then we went to the north, which is on the border of Nicaragua, and we actually were right on the border, and was it Nicaragua? Yeah, Nicaragua. And you go canoeing, and they have these alligator type things. I forget what they're called. they're like small alligators. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
And there were fucking literally hundreds. They're crocodiles. Hundreds of them surrounding your boat. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've also realized how weak my brain has gotten. So, whenever we've traveled throughout our lives, you go and like, you try to find, like, I remember like, what's a beer? You try to find some barometer for the currency exchange rate. And I remember Mexico chopped off a lot of zeros. I'm sure there's a more technical way of saying that, but off their peso many years ago. Well, Costa Rica should do the same. So $10 is 5,558 Costa Rican, whatever it is, colones.
Yeah.
5,558 is $10
I
bucks.
need to cut some zeros.
Yeah. So I haven't been too great at that. So it's just it's just credit card, no matter what it is.
All right, let's talk. Speaking of white guys, St. Patrick's Day show is coming up March 17th. It's the 18th year in a row, not including the pandemic, where we held it at a golf course instead.
Hey, remember my bit?
What?
Get this. Remember my bit that I was actually most proud of, and I knew it was such low-hanging fruit, and I did it at a bunch of St. Patrick's. So I've been doing it for like 5 years, 6 years. But about wheeled luggage and how recent wheeled luggage is and how insane it is. Like we would, as kids, drag wheeled luggages from the 80s. And anyway, and I had a bit of like when the wheel came out and we would bring our heavy bags and drag them to a porter who used a dolly, and we still didn't get it. We still didn't
Yeah.
Jim Jeffries does this whole routine.
Oh, he does?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
And I golfed 18 holes with him, and I'm like, did I ever bring that? And then shame, if I did, it's fair game. But it's like, I wonder.
Is it a new bit for him?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, it's in his current special right now. I just watched it. I'm like, oh shit.
No shit.
Listen, it's super obvious to me. Like as I would talk about it, I couldn't believe it hadn't been done. It's so crazy.
Typical white man.
And then he talked about, I think, just to boast a little. I think I had a better example. He did with Neil Armstrong that he was going to the moon that day, and when he left the house, he's like, "Bye, honey," and lifted up a really heavy suitcase But mine was what's his name from A Brief History of Time. I chose the smartest man in the world, Stephen Hawking, smartest man in the world, because he himself was wheeled luggage. He's in a wheelchair. He still didn't fucking, you could put wheels on your bag, on my bag, my heavy suitcase. You could wheel it alongside me.
You have to say it like him. Don't say it like that.
Yeah. Well, when I did that, remember the girl goes, oh, because I did it. He had just died. They're like, too soon. I'm like, oh, now you know everything about time. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There is no,
that's
according
funny.
to Steven, nothing's too soon.
So like an hour ago, I had a guy's finger up my asshole. Went to the doctor, got my checkup.
Oh, I thought this was about time, and you were really talking about your childhood. But what's time? So it might as well be an hour ago.
I'm changing the subject. I had my doctor, Dr. Isaacson, who's a fine physician in Santa Monica.
I'm sure he loves being named.
Every year, he knows that in order to put his finger up my ass, he needs to tell me a joke. That's our running gag, because doctors always have their little joke before they give you the proctology exam. And so this was this year's joke. He goes, now don't be calling me another doctor's name while I'm doing this. I was like, all right, that's fine. Put it in.
It's pretty good. Put it in. Oh,
He fucking put it in far though this year. I think he might have put a second finger in. Is it weird that he wore a condom? I get the glove, but
I get the mitten.
He went in deep, and it's weird because like you feel it in your penis when the prostate is being rubbed. Your penis gets a little bit tingly.
Oh, more than that.
Yeah.
They even say you might leak a little bit.
I looked down because I felt like I was leaking. So I've got my hands on my elbows on the table, and I'm looking down at my penis, and it shrunk. Like my penis shrunk back. It got as small as it can get, and I was looking for leakage. There was no leakage, but it was very embarrassing because then I turned around and he did the ball exam. But at that point, I was not proud of my wares.
Right. No, of course not. No, he caught you at a bad moment.
Yeah.
He must catch everyone at a bad moment, though, if that's the order in which he does things.
And I had already fluffed before he came in the office. I got myself to a nice place.
He should, out of respect, do it for many reasons in the opposite order, including hygiene.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not in the mood to have a full-blown erection in front of your doctor after he's gone up your butt. Or maybe you are. Maybe that is why he does it. Most guys are a little chubbed up after that.
But then he started playing with my balls. Like, you had to feel, I shouldn't say playing. He was feeling.
You've named him.
He was feeling my balls. Well, everybody knows doctors do this. He didn't do anything that was not by the book. But when he rubs your balls, like, it took like 30 seconds. And it literally got to the point where I was like, all right, we're going to be in play here in a minute.
Do you have health insurance? I'm getting turned on. Well, listen, the prostate thing is probably listen, this is the time you have to, odds are this is when it would happen. Like they have to be more thorough.
No, and my mom had prostate cancer, so they actually check for me. Usually you get it done every 10 years. For me, they do it every 5 years.
Wait, who had it?
My mom.
I don't think so, Greg.
Yeah, they got it really early. No, colon cancer. She had colon cancer.
Like, how early did they get it? When she was a boy?
I didn't tell you about my mom, Mr. Fitzsimmons. She transitioned. She was way ahead of the game.
Greg, I hate to tell you, the doctor's been lying to your mom about her having a prostate, and he just likes jamming his fingers up her asshole once a year. And that your mom hasn't called bullshit on it. I wouldn't even get involved.
And weekly physicals seem like a lot. But, you're in Florida. They know what they're talking about.
Yeah, they do.
So that was my morning.
Wow. All right. You've recovered quite well.
But it is amazing. Like, he checked everything out. And I said to the nurse before she checked me, I go, She goes, get on the scale. I go, I don't need to. I'm 150 pounds. I've been 150 pounds for 20 years. And she goes, not 149, not 151. I go, 150 pounds on the nose. So I get on the scale, and it said 152, and she fat shamed me. And then I got undressed and put on the little gown, got back on the scale, 150.0.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's amazing when the doctor starts checking you out and everything works. Eyes, ears, throat, dick, asshole, heart. Every test they did, they were like, perfect, perfect, perfect. And
we know it's not true.
But I mean, so many things can go wrong. There's so many things that can go wrong with you. And yet somehow your body replicates its DNA. It recreates you every period of time. Every piece of matter in your body is replaced every X number of hours or days with new stuff that your DNA is replicating. And somehow it all fucking works. I mean, obviously it doesn't. Some people get sick. But most of us manage to keep, like your car breaks down all the time. But our bodies just keep fucking going. Yeah.
Well, hopefully, God willing, right?
Or God not willing, depending on your level of depression.
That too. Well, good. You're healthy, man.
I had this guy in the front row the other night, and I asked him if he ever tried to kill himself.
Huh. That's nice crowd work.
Well, because he was such a bummer. I was like, man, you're a fucking downer. You ever tried to kill yourself? He's like, no. I go, have you thought about it? And he said, yes. And I said, did you plan how you would do it? And he said, yes. I go, well, then that's a red flag. Because the doctor will always say that to you. You ever notice that? Like,
yeah.
But like, did you make a plan?
I thought his joke was like, yes, I'm going to shove this straw right through my eyeball on your next non-punchline.
Yeah. So I've never thought about how I would do it. So I'm safe.
Yeah, same. It's quite disturbing. I was very, very, very late in life when I realized how hanging is not what I thought it was, and it's much easier.
Oh, really?
And much more peaceful. Yeah. Because
you lose consciousness before you really start gagging, right?
Oh, it has nothing to do with hanging, literally hanging. You know what I mean? Like you're full. All you do is, well, I don't want to talk about it, but it's Robin Williams. It's how Robin Williams did it. It's how Brody did it.
Matt Malloy had this. He was talking about this at dinner last night. And he's like, he had health insurance or life insurance, and it was about to expire. And so he goes, I should just call the insurance company and be like, all right, listen, I got a $500,000 policy that's payable to my wife. It expires in 30 days. I'm going to fucking hang myself, and you're going to owe her the full $500,000, or you can pay me $250 right now. He goes, I got an offshore account. Use a Venmo. He goes, nobody needs to know about it, but you can save your company $250,000.
Yeah, and then we walk away. Then I'm on my own.
Mine ran out. I had life insurance for 20 years, and then it just expired, literally like 2 months ago. I had term life insurance for like 22 years.
Yep, I got one. I think I got it for, maybe I got it for 30 years. I don't know why I would have done that. Girls are on
so
their
yours
own
is still
after all.
going.
Mine is still going, but I've thought of just stopping.
They say you just need it till your kids get out of college.
Yeah. So I don't know. I still have it.
Welcome to the Old Man Podcast.
Yeah, Jesus. What are we doing? Let's go. Logo.
Thanks to our logo, Adam Copeland hand drew this beautiful Hagar the Horrible. It's you, and you're rescuing me. I thought it was Blondie, but it's not. It's just a blonde woman. And last week we wondered who the Photoshop was of, and it was indeed RoboCop. A number of people pointed out. Our song this week, first of all, I can't say enough about how great the song is. It's very metal. It's heavy metal, and it's by Trevor Minnick, but it also has a video So we're going to ask you to stick around at the end of the podcast and watch Trevor's video that accompanies this song, which is kick-ass.
And my apologies to Trevor. I haven't heard it yet. I'm out of the country. So I will watch it and listen to it after this.
Okay. And then when you're back in the country, I will email you the video.
You're going to wait till I'm back in the country?
Well, I don't know why you being out of the country. It's not like we huddle around a laptop together when you're living here in L.A.
You didn't send me the song.
I know, but it's just funny that you're trying to say you're out of the country so you can't see the video.
I'm near the jungle. It's a different way of life here.
Corrections. At the beginning of last week's show, Greg referred to Billy Joel songs as being part of The Last Us on HBO. Am I missing something? I don't recall a single Billy Joel song in that show. Was Greg possibly thinking about The Boys on Amazon Prime? Yes, you are correct, Ryan in Chicago. He goes on to say, as for the vibes on Sunday Papers Land, it feels like mom and dad are fighting. Greg is clearly annoyed at Mike for doing zero show prep, and I can't say I blame him. Between the two hosts, one of them spent a week on a tour bus, and the other didn't load one goddamn story into the spreadsheet. What gives, Mike? I don't get the impression you have a super busy work schedule. Please correct me if I'm
near
wrong.
the jungle. First of all, that was not the week you were on the bus. I think that week I actually did my part, and more than my part, and I loaded it, and what I was happy to do. And then this week, I'm responsible for most of, at least the lead stories for sure. But you do a lot of work on this, no doubt about it. But Ryan tapped in. That was, that was bad last week.
Jedi Powers is the person who sent this. Philadelphia Freedom wasn't written for Billy Joel. It's worse. It was written for the newly formed Alternative Tennis League as a them song for the Philadelphia Freedom tennis team, captained by Chris Everett, who made Elton John write it to be part of the team. It makes the song almost tolerable now because of how stupid the real reason is.
I think it's a team song for the Philadelphia Freedom, not a them song, maybe. I don't know.
It came on the radio. I read this, and then it came on the radio just coincidentally yesterday, and I listened to it. And once again, our good friend Bernie Taupin is so obtuse that I could not understand a single thing the lyric was meaning. It's garbage. It's absolute garbage.
Yet we all can hum that song, and it's catchy as hell.
Catchy as shit.
And think about this assignment if that is true. Hey, genius guy, you have to just come up with a musical piece of art for a women's tennis team in the 70s?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that what I'm understanding? And he nails it, and it's on the radio today.
Are you looking up the lyrics right now?
I'm trying to look up the lyrics right now.
Okay.
Here we go.
It would be so great if we had a producer who was actually on our call.
I got this. Even when I'm in the jungle. I don't even know. I used to be a Rolling Stone, you know. If I ever wrote a first line of a poem or song with
yeah.
It's time to cross it out, new start.
Yeah.
I used to be a Rolling Stone, you know. If a cause was right, I'd leave to find the answer on the road. I used to be a heart beaten for someone, but the times have changed. The less I say, the more my work gets done. 'Cause I live and breathe this Philadelphia freedom. From the day that I was born, I've waved the flag. Philadelphia freedom took me knee-high to a man, gave a peace of mind my daddy never had.
He took me knee-high to, it took me from when I was knee-high to a man. I thought it meant he was on his knees in front of a man.
If you chose to, you can live your life alone. Some people chose the city. Some others chose the good old family home. I like living easy without family ties till the whippoorwill of freedom zapped me right between the... It's
Christ.
like he hates Elton John.
Yes.
Good luck with whippoorwill.
Yeah, right.
What the hell?
It's like an exercise in a creative writing class where the teacher goes, I'm going to give you a bunch of refrigerator magnets, get really high, and then come up with something.
Oh, my God. Anyway, all right. Okay, well, thanks for pointing that out, Jedi powers.
All right. So now Merriam-Webster raised the hackles of stodgy grammarians last week when it affirmed the lexical veracity of irregardless. This is a word that we've had so much mail about, whether or not
Because
irregardless is a word. The word's definition, when reading it, would seem to be without regard. Irregardless is included in our dictionary because it has been in widespread and near constant use since 1795. They wrote, we do not make the English language, we merely record it. They define irregardless as non-standard, but meaning the same as regardless. Many people find irregardless to be a nonsensical word, as the IR prefix usually functions to indicate negation. However, in this case, it appears to function as an intensifier, the dictionary writes. So there is no logic to there being a word irregardless, because it does mean the same thing as regardless.
Maybe I'm just tired, but it's like disregardless. It almost should apply to that also, but with
Brad
disregard.
Court sent that in.
With no regard. Whatever.
Do not
okay,
disregard
regardless.
this.
Disregardless. Disregardless is not a word.
I want you to regard this. Philadelphia Freedom. I will be celebrating that in Philly at Helium Comedy Club, March 9th through the 11th. Those shows will sell out. Get your tickets in advance. In Los Angeles, the Hollywood Improv, St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. Mike Gibbons, Dennis Gubbins, and myself will welcome several other big-name guests. I always bring on big-name guests to the show. That will also sell out. Get your tickets. St. Louis at the Grandel Theater, April 1st. Those tickets go on sale this week. Mohegan Sun in Connecticut, April 13th through 15th. Oxnard, Levity Live, April 22nd. Escondido, April 28th and 29th. Also coming to Columbia, Missouri, Kansas City, and Boston. Go to fitzdog.com for all your ticketing needs.
Look at that.
You got some paper?
No paper. There's no paper here.
Extra! Extra! Read all about it! Extra!
In this country.
Hold on a second. Look what I found.
A newspaper.
This thing is so tired and soggy and over-crinkled. It sounds like I'm petting a kitten more than I'm crinkling a newspaper.
All right, well, from our front page, Republican firebrand Marjorie Taylor Greene says the U.S. needs a national divorce between red and blue states.
Wait, before you go on, can I just ask you a question? This Marjorie Taylor Greene person who has emerged in the last couple of years as a major mouthpiece for the far right, why does she have power? There are hundreds of Congress people, and somehow, like, nothing she ever says should be reported. It's mostly the ravings of a madwoman, and somehow she has co-opted the press to transcribe everything she says, and it's putting issues on the table that are non-issues. Am I reading this wrong?
I don't think they ever get to the table, and I think they're like humoring her a little bit. She's very ineffective, and they have her voting record, all that stuff. Anyway, but it's the same thing that they do with the crazy woke people on the left.
Yes.
The press loves a fight, and they love making news with their news. And that's what they're doing. So what they're doing is they're taking extremists from both sides, and those are the voices you're hearing.
Yeah, when AOC says things like, we're going to pay for everybody's college and she lists all the things, it's like, all right, that's never going to get done. So why? It's making the left look bad. This Marjorie Taylor Greene is making the right look bad. And yet the press has the option of not reporting that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway,
same with the Sunday papers.
Right.
A surprising number of Americans agree with the Georgia firebrand that the United States needs a national divorce where red and blue states would separate and the federal government would be shrunk. 34% of the 1,000 likely voters surveyed said they agree with Greene, but still 57% disagree with the premise. From the sick and disgusting woke culture issues shoved down our throats to the Democrats' traitorous America Last policies, we are done, Taylor Greene insisted of Republican sentiment toward the opposing party. Well, I say bring it on. I would love a, quote, divorce from red states at this point, and good luck to you.
Well, first of all, in a divorce, you got to split stuff up. And who gets Michigan and Wisconsin? They're purple. You know? They're
Blue
shared.
gets Michigan, red gets Wisconsin.
They're like the CDs that we bought together at a thrift store while we were high that day, and then we went back to the apartment and fooled around to the Strokes and Erykah Badu, you know. And Pennsylvania is that dog we met on a hike in the Palisades. Who gets Pennsylvania Pete? Why can't we just work it out? Why can't mom and dad stay together?
I wonder if there's a real thought-out plan. I'm sure actually intelligent authors have explored the issue. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how it would happen. The red states can't survive on their own. I mean, that's just a fact.
Well, especially when you look at that there are blue. What do they call it when there's a blue city inside of a red state, or a red city inside of a blue state?
Yeah, like Atlanta and Nashville and Austin.
And how about Houston? Houston is blue, my friend.
Is it really?
Yeah. And if you were and those are the money centers. If you were to take those cities out of those states, they would collapse. That's what drives them.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. But, I mean, listen, some red states would survive and do just fine. You know, if you're looking at Georgia. Is Georgia red?
Georgia's red.
Okay.
But
what is it? Didn't it go
no,
Biden?
Actually, I think it's shading towards purple at this point.
You love this purple thing.
Yeah.
But you know, most anyway, we don't have to go into it. But they need to be supported. They need to be in the divorce. Would they still want the support, the child support for all the children, meaning the adults?
I think if you took L.A. and San Francisco out of California, it would be a red state.
Yeah.
Are there any blue states with red cities?
Well, New York has them now.
Yeah.
That was the disappointing thing. If you're a New Yorker, if you're a blue New Yorker, the disappointing thing was all these red pockets popping up. Oh, sure, though. In of course. California, Orange County.
Yeah. Although
there's a lot.
Orange County is not as Republican. Orange County was the most Republican part of the country during Reagan. But now they're saying it's actually become blue.
All
you
right.
want to read the next story?
Which one? A viral video of Biden saying he's reinstating the draft is a deep fake. In the video, Biden says the first to be called for the draft will be men and women, whose 20th birthday falls during the calendar year 2023.
Which is my son.
Yeah. First of all, I think that's too young. I think you're not getting any of the millennials in there, and they have to go. But what I loved about, first of all, you could tell this video is fake because it is the most articulate Biden's ever been. There wasn't a mumble. There wasn't like one of his, God bless him, he has a stammer. There weren't stammers. Like, if you're going to make it believable, at least put in the stuff that he's struggling with on every day.
Yeah, it looked like a rumpled shirt that was suddenly ironed and dry cleaned.
Yeah, I
and
wish
first
this
of all-
deep fake were our president.
And if this really was Biden, he would have said the draft will begin with men named Hunter born in 1970.
Please get him out of here.
They got to be looking for like hacky comedians that do Biden impressions right now, so they can loop in the words, the Biden words.
Yeah.
You know? Because the guy who did this was not even a good Biden impression at all.
Right.
Um,
But soon it's going to be, I mean, you see the deep fakes that are so convincing.
yeah.
But imagine, it gets back to if there's a draft, good luck. Speaking of the me, it's not just those people I was talking about, but it's this whole country is what can my country do for me? So a draft is not, I don't even think it could work on any level.
Right.
No more.
Let's do the next story.
Hidden illegal casinos are booming in Los Angeles with organized crime reaping big profits. So that sounds kind of fun, right? Here were the opening lines of the article on these hidden casinos, which are booming in LA. Here's the line. One thing was clear from the body lying in the Boyle Heights street. The woman was no victim of robbery. Whoever pumped 4 bullets behind her left ear didn't touch the $1,000 in her purse, the bills clutched in her hand, or the diamond ring on her right index finger. Deputies eventually would learn the woman was part of an underground gambling circuit booming in Los Angeles. She had worked in an illegal casino known as a casita, like a modern-day speakeasy. They are hidden in homes and warehouses, in the back rooms of smoke shops, and behind storefronts that pretend to be legitimate businesses. The ultimate beneficiaries? The Mexican mafia, the prison-based syndicate that oversees Latino street gangs in Southern California. Anyway, it goes on to talk that these are sometimes called tap-taps and slap houses for the sounds audible from outside the house of gamblers furiously working the joysticks, which we'll get to in a second, and the buttons of their most popular attraction, the fish game.
The fish game. Dude, let's play some fish game.
Do you know what this is?
Never heard of it.
Same. It's played on a machine that looks like a pool table with a screen where the felt would be. Gamblers. Okay, so when I first heard of this story, I'm like, this all sounded like dark and decadent with an air of like clandestine coolness, And then you hear that these guys are sitting around a table manipulating joysticks to harpoon digital fish that are flickering across the screen. They're like grown babies, like
right.
Playing like a child's game.
Right. I know.
Imagine like a real, like I was picturing like I got a Full House, Aces High. What do you got? I got 14 fish.
Well, I mean, look at the fucking video games that people play in casinos. The slot machine game. It's the Addams Family and the Simpsons, and it's childish. It's all, but it's tough to stop because what are you gonna do? Like put them further in jail? They're already in jail. If you catch them, that's the perfect cover. I'm already in jail. It's like,
and you wonder
it's
why
like
this...
having AIDS. Like once you have it, I don't have to use a condom anymore. I got AIDS.
Oh boy. Yeah. Good view. No, but it's like why that woman has 4 bullets in her head. Like, what does the guy have to lose? He's like, I think there might have been an accusation that she was stealing. And so the guy in jail, that's the easiest decision he's made in like that day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take her out.
Right.
And
pin it on me. If anyone asks, just say I did it.
He has a great alibi. Where were you? Well, you know where I was. You know my number.
Right.
I was doing laundry.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I have not heard from anybody. I mean, but then I thought it was card games and dice and everything, and then I heard it was this. No wonder I haven't heard of anybody going to these.
We'll get to dice in a minute when we get to the Gibbons story. Anyway, a Texas lawmaker who authored a bill that would restrict drag performances appears to have dressed in drag himself while a student. Now, this isn't the only. Wasn't there another politician that also got?
Yes. So
busted for
Tennessee
this?
beat Texas. Tennessee beat Texas to actually writing it into law. And the governor, I think his name is Lee of Tennessee, in his high school yearbook, he's dressed as a woman.
Well, a video that surfaced this week appears to show Texas State Republican Nate Schatzline, a Republican, skipping, running, and dancing in a park while donning a black sequin dress and a red eye mask. At the end of the roughly 90-second video, which plays over the song Sexy Lady, the 4 participants are named, including Schatzline, whose character is called the Virgin. Well,
What is going on here?
it not only is a guy who voted for drag wearing drag, at least we know that he probably didn't pay for an abortion, as opposed to most of the other Republicans in Texas.
And he's pro-mask way before masks became vogue.
Yeah. He looks good. Did you see the video? I'd fuck him.
You know, I shouldn't. In fairness, I did read about because when Tennessee passed this law, right? I was like, well, wait, we need definitions here. What does that mean? Like, what about when a performer comes? What about when Harry Styles comes to your giant stadium in Nashville and he's wearing a dress and he has nail polish on and he probably has makeup on? Like, where does that fall? But it's not that. It's more targeted towards sort of sex acts, or sexual, suggestive sexual things in the performance.
I'm listening.
So I think
do?
Harry Styles is safe, but he should just. I mean, I think some performers, might boycott some of these states that do this.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
I don't know. I think I should go to Nashville and put on a show and drag.
Yeah, you'll make press, but you have to be gross. You have to do something.
That's fine.
And it would help if kids were in the audience. That's another thing there. That the goal of this law.
A kid in my audience is someone under the age of 45.
Then they've seen all your tricks.
Raymond Oroso and his family went to celebrate his wife's birthday at a restaurant in Carmel Valley, California. And as they were about to enjoy dessert, a man seated alone at a nearby table, who is reportedly a Silicon Valley CEO, started to verbally abuse them. It's so funny. You're sitting alone. Most people, when they're sitting alone, like when I'm on the road and I'm alone at a restaurant, I just don't want to be seen. I'm kind of embarrassed that I'm alone. I just want to blend in. This motherfucker starts hurling racial slurs alone. And shouted expletives at the Asian American family, and it was all captured on video. But before he could finish his hateful speech, one of the waitresses, Janika Cochran, stepped in and became a hero. She acted on instinct, and even she was surprised by her reaction. To hear the emotion coming out of my voice, to see my mannerisms, it was unbelievable. It was something that just came over me. I just did what needed to be done, she told ABC7. So now Raymond and his family are thanking this heroic waitress who spoke up in the face of racism. In fact, several GoFundMe campaigns have raised over $40,000 in tips for her.
Wow.
So next week, a guy is going to berate a black family, and she's going to step in. And after paying the actors, she's looking to clear about $25,000.
First of all, a Silicon Valley CEO who doesn't like Asians, I don't know if this story's adding up to me.
Yeah. I could see him yelling at them, but that's just because they're not working hard enough.
They're not programming enough or whatever. I mean, there is no shortage of incredibly intelligent Asians all over Silicon Valley.
Well done, Mike.
But on the other hand, did he not think one of them wouldn't have a camera and record the whole thing? Come on.
I mean, do you know what these Silicon Valley CEOs make? These guys make $10 million a year. That dude just lost $10 million by being.
I think they make a lot. They can make a lot more than that.
Well, let's look up what was his name.
Did it have it here?
Story? They did not list his name. I wonder why.
Yeah.
Curious what that dude made.
All right.
10 million is that's entry level money for a Silicon Valley CEO.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about Ford. Their latest patent application shows a bizarre new way that cars could be repossessed in the future if their owners don't make payments on time. Ford describes the use of a repossession system computer that can facilitate the process. It starts out with minor annoyances that would cause discomfort to the vehicle owner. If a driver ignores warnings about their missing payments, the process would begin with the computer disabling functionality of features like cruise control, GPS, air conditioning, and the radio. The computer could also prompt the car to start emitting an incessant and unpleasant sound whenever the driver is there. Yeah. And then it starts to leak a fart smell. Christopher Cross plays over and over again on the radio. If the owner still doesn't act on the missing payment warning, the computer will really raise the stakes. The car may lock its owner out. And if you break in and you drive it, it will drive you head on into another guy who hasn't made his payments.
That's the one I like. Why wouldn't it just simply not start if you owe it? Like it's been repossessed.
Well, it wants to encourage, because they want to get paid. They want to get their payment for the car. And if they just lock you out, now you got to take the car back and you won't get a dime. But if you just annoy them a little bit, maybe they'll pay.
Maybe it'll be automatically programmed to drive you to one of these illegal casinos.
Right. So
get
you can make the money to pay them?
Yeah, get enough fish, and then you make your payment.
Show up to the Ford dealership with a sack of fish.
All right, good news for Gibbons.
Good news for Gibbons. Well, as people know, Gibbons had a major knee operation it's been over 2 weeks now.
Oh, wow. All right, yeah.
2 weeks ago, so he's been laid up on his couch. And, I mean, the thing about Dennis Gibbons is he's overweight. Would you consider him obese or just overweight?
He's not obese.
He is overweight, and he's got a very large belly, and I'm worried because he's been on the couch for 2 weeks, and people just come by. He has so many friends. I've never seen anybody with so many friends. Every time I stop by, there's 2 or 3 people there, and they all bring food, and he eats all of it, and he's getting no exercise, so I'm a little worried about his weight.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about his cane. Can it handle it? He did a funny post with his. He has a purple cane, so I take it back. It wasn't funny, but he switched purple rain to purple cane. I don't even know why
I thought it was
I'm
actually
talking
very
about.
Funny. It was funny just because
it was because it was intentionally cheesy and bad.
Yeah. And then we go over there and we play this dice game called 1 4 24, I think.
Yeah.
And you gamble. So there's been a lot of gambling going on. And he's eating a lot of edibles.
And he loves. Oh, we were gonna ask. He just like in everything else, other competitive situations, he yells a lot, and he hates the way I play this dice game. But here, if there's any people listening who are good at math and who are good at percentages and odds, do this problem for us.
Oh, geez.
You have 2 dice. No, I'm trying to think of the easiest way to say this. You have 2 dice, and the odds, you want to get the highest roll possible. And you roll it, and you get let's say one of them's low, but one of them's a 5. Do you keep the 5? Or do you pick up both dice, and this is what would have to happen. You'd pick up both dice, and you would then get 2 rolls. You roll 2 dice, and you have to keep the highest one from that, and then you get to roll 1 die. So that's the question. You have a 5 in the hand.
In other words, you get 2 rolls, and if you have 2 rolls, and you're allowed to keep both dice or one of the dice after one roll?
No,
before your
you're right.
second
That probably
roll?
was no, that was confusing because what happens is there's a bunch of dice and each time you have to keep one. So here's the idea is you have the choice of keeping the 5 and then you would just roll one die. Right? Or it's kind of like let's make a deal. Or you know what? I'm going to roll both of them, keep one, and then I roll the last one,
There's
and
no
I
way
have to
anybody's
keep
gonna
that.
understand this. It's too hard
I
to
think someone who
understand without
knows.
doing it.
I think gamblers and people who know odds know exactly what I'm talking about.
What about the other hundreds of thousands of people that are listening to the podcast?
Oh, they stopped long ago today. I think. I think I got rid of them with my California rant.
There are a lot of exit ramps on this one today.
There's a lot of exit ramps before. What are the odds that they stuck around?
Why don't we just call this the fish? This podcast.
But you know
Your
what I
odds-
mean. Do you keep the 5 or do you
Oh,
think
just
with
stop. Just
2
stop.
rolls? I want to know. Anyway,
Let's get to
Dennis.
entertainment.
All right.
We don't have any entertainment stories, but we thought we'd talk about some stuff we've seen recently.
So on the flight, I started watching Groundhog Day, and I'm on United, and then I landed before it was over. I'm like, no problem, because I had to make a connection, and then I connect and I get on, and unlike Groundhog Day, I could not watch it again. It was not on the international leg of the flight.
Oh no!
So I have, and I actually forget how the movie ends, but many people have called it, one of the more perfect screenplays.
Well,
And
it's been copied enough times. How many Groundhog Day reboots with different titles have come out?
yeah, but I'm sure it copied something too. Like I'm sure there are plenty of short stories and books and stuff.
Well,
and, sci-fi.
There's Christmas Story. Or
What's
Christmas
that?
Tale. The one about
Oh, right.
the
No, right,
ghosts
of
of
course.
Christmas past and present and future.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but obviously it's great. And then so on the second flight, I watched Summer of Soul, which I had never seen, and it was really impressive.
Loved Summer Soul. I think it won the Oscar for Best Documentary. It was
It
set
did,
in
and guess-
1967 or 69.
Guess who presented the award?
Chris Rock.
Yes.
And Questlove produced it and didn't get his proper due.
He came up when the whole place was still like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it came out
No.
in 1969.
No, it never came out. It was shot. It was the same year as Woodstock, and it was over that summer, and it was actually called the Black Woodstock, which did not help the marketability of it
Yeah.
at that time.
Right.
And we landed on the moon during one of the, during the concerts.
Oh.
Yeah, that
Well,
was
it
a
was
big
called
thing
the
that
Harlem
happened.
Cultural Festival, shot in 1969, and it was very hot when they shot it. And I just remember Sly and the Family Stone
Amazing.
were amazing.
No, he's like some alien who just landed there. Like he turns around, you look at him. He was so amazing. And what was really interesting musically was, and they talk about it, is Stevie Wonder was still primarily like Motown, like
Yeah.
eager to please songs, catchy, all that. All those guys were told to wear suits. And, one of the things that Barry Gordon did was he's like, we've got to be palatable. We've got to be attractive to the white audience. Without the white audience, we're not in business. And he goes, so you have to be so presentable, so non-threatening, so easy for them to like. And so they were all dressed so well and all suit and tie. The Pip and Gladys Knight and the Pips were there, and they're all there in their suits. And then you have these guys who are like, fuck that, and it's Hendrix and it's Sly Stone who are like, I am just gonna let my freak flag fly and just wear whatever I want, and it's gonna be outrageous.
Yeah.
Because this is just how I feel. And Stevie Wonder was also musically was like right there where it's like, do I keep doing catchy pop songs, or am I going to talk about what's going on and also just get incredibly funky?
Yeah. Yeah, it was Mahalia Jackson, Gladys Knight and the Pips.
Oh, you know who I'm really, it's so regrettable. I am so late. Nina Simone came on and had such gravity.
Oh my
and,
God, yeah.
And I've been told by so many people to see the documentary on her, and I haven't done it yet.
But yeah, because I think that song she wrote, Young, Gifted, and Black, I think had become like a real anthem for the Black rights movement. And she came out and sang that. And yeah, it was very powerful.
So anyway, highly recommend it. All right, you have Last of Us written here?
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching Last of Us, and people are mixed on it. Some people don't like it. I went for the ride. I hate zombie movies. As soon as the zombies, no spoiler, but you'll know within 30 seconds it's a zombie movie. But it's a great series, despite the fact that zombies appear pretty.
I haven't heard it's bad,
infrequently.
actually. Yeah.
But
I heard, isn't it more like Cormac McCarthy, like Blood Meridian or whatever it was, like, post-apocalyptic, and all that?
Yeah, it's post-apocalyptic for sure. But
The Road, right? The Road. Chris wrote
yeah.
that in. Thank you, not Blood Meridian.
I just read The Road last year. Jesus Christ.
Oh.
Jesus Christ. I mean, it's
Doesn't it say
so
on your
hardcore.
Doesn't it say on your prescription antidepressants, don't read Cormac McCarthy? Like, don't operate heavy machinery.
Yeah.
Don't read Cormac McCarthy.
Although you can read All the Pretty Horses wasn't that bleak.
Oh,
It's
God, I read that,
That's a beautiful book.
and I don't remember it.
But you know who's in it is the girl from Game of Thrones, who's got the giant forehead.
Oh, okay.
She's very good, although
All
her
right.
forehead is even bigger.
All right.
And she looks downsy. She's got like little beady eyes that are set close to each other.
All right.
I don't know how
Annie
she gets
Wersching.
work. I mean, it's a testament to show business that that Anna Wersching is her name. It's a testament to show business that she gets work because she's not traditionally attractive or untraditionally attractive.
So you're saying she should have been one of the zombies?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we're going to make America Florida.
Let's make America Florida.
Shannon Hunter, 44, of Plant City, was required last week to submit a urine sample to probation officers after pleading guilty to felony drug charges in January. But Hunter tried to dupe the officers and passed the drug test. According to her arrest affidavit, she was busted after she, quote, attempted to use a prescription pill container full of an unknown liquid to pass her urinalysis. After she was arrested for failing the urine test, police said she admitted to hiding the pill container inside of herself. While many tried to pass urine tests with either synthetic urine or urine from a clean individual, Hunter had filled the pill container with a mixture of soda and tap water,
There you go.
which would have undoubtedly resulted in a failed sample. Yeah, your urinalysis came back, Hunter, and Shannon, I mean. And exactly how much watered down RC Cola are you drinking? The doctor wants to know.
Yeah. Shannon, bad news is you're going to jail. Good news is you won't need to buy fountain drinks at the commissary. Turns out you're a dispenser. It's like a fairy tale. Instead of like the goose laying the golden egg, the meth head who pisses Diet Coke.
They are definitely going to do that cavity search when she does go to jail because she could get in a lot of drugs if she wanted to.
Oh, think about the excitement of doing cavity searches on this woman. She's like one of those Russian stacking dolls.
Well, Elda, what do we have here? It is like, oh, a Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Wait a minute, hold on. A dozen roses.
12-pack of Fresca. What's going on here?
All right, sports.
Yapper.
Ryan Patterson wrote us a note. You briefly touched on Gretzky's GOAT status in last week's podcast, and I thought I'd provide some perspective. Gretzky is, of course, the all-time leader in both goals scored and assists. Thus, he's the all-time leader in points. Points are goals plus assists. I think you get 2 points for a goal and 1 point for an assist. But how far ahead is he of everyone else? If Gretzky never scored one NHL goal, take that stat out of the equation entirely, he still has enough assists to be the all-time leading point scorer in NHL history.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So he's that much better. NFL legend Tom Brady has drawn up a game plan for a new career in stand-up comedy.
Oh,
but
boy.
His inner circle is trying to talk him out of it. The Tampa Bay Bucks' ego inflated when Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin, and Rita Moreno gushed over him in the recent comedy flick 80 for Brady. Comedy flick 80 for Brady. And sources said the experience left him feeling like an all-pro comic. The ladies were super nice to him, and he did a real nice job reading professional written material. But he'll be playing in a whole different league if he takes up the stand-up stage, said the insider. Quote, he does a great impersonation of former teammate Rob Gronkowski, and his over-the-top Boston accent is hilarious. Oh, good. Oh, good. That's one thing we're really lacking in the nightclubs is a good Boston accent. Bill Burr hasn't covered that yet.
Also, you have greenlit yourself to pursue this career after you made 3 80-year-old women laugh. That was the deciding factor.
All right. Yeah.
Oh my God.
He'll probably do it. He'll have a great set, get off stage, and then try to go back on and do an encore and suck a bag of dicks.
Well, he is. I hope he is funny. I'm supposed to work with him if he's gonna do this roast that was all announced, and then he unretired and pushed it back a year. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
he's also such a better target now. I don't know if he's gonna be willing to feel that vulnerable. Because when he signed up,
I thought this thing was supposed to be happening now. This roast
after the Super Bowl. Yeah, that's what he said at the beginning of the season. But since then, he has what many feel is not exactly a bulletproof season. Then he got divorced, and the crypto thing where he lost millions. So a lot has happened, which has not been good in the last year for him.
Yeah, except that he got offered $300-something million to become a broadcaster for Fox.
Someone here, that's true, sent in, who is it now? Jay LaSala sent in something about Philly fans, and it is Jaylen Brown talking about Philly fans. Quote, it got a little disrespectful before the game. We were entering the arena. There was people saying, I hope you tear your ACL.
Isn't that nice?
So nice to put that in the head of a professional athlete who would lose everything.
All right, let's get down to this day in history.
All right.
March 5th, 1969, the same as the summer of Soul.
Yeah.
Jim Morrison is charged with lewd behavior at a Miami concert. There was an arrest warrant for a single felony count and 3 misdemeanors. He first got word of the charges for lewd and lascivious behavior, indecent exposure, profanity, and drunkenness. He thought it was a practical joke, and he found out later they were serious. And they later added an additional charge, simulated oral copulation on guitarist Robbie Krieger during the concert.
That should come with a sentence. Yeah, you should be busted for that.
So there was a trial, and virtually every witness was somehow connected to the police or the district attorney's office. There was some question as to whether the singer had actually exposed himself on stage, but there was no doubt that he was so drunk that he had been able to do little more than mumble during the show. I've seen video. He's a fucking wreck. So he turned down a plea bargain arrangement where the band would play a free concert in Miami. This turned out to be a mistake, as he was convicted and sentenced to 6 months in prison. He died in Paris before he could serve the sentence.
Oh, wow.
20 years later, Dade County, the same place, once again placed itself in the middle of a rock concert when they prosecuted 2 live crew for alleged obscenity on stage.
Obscenity on stage. Good luck now.
In 2010, Morrison received a posthumous pardon by the issue of Florida.
Huh.
Well, that's nice.
I did not know that he was sentenced, and I didn't know that was still in play when he died.
Bobby Lee used to pull his dick out on stage all the time.
Oh, constantly.
Yeah. I don't think he does anymore.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's like...
He'd get a short sentence for that.
Yeah.
He wouldn't do hard time. We're just going to keep searching for wordplay.
Yeah. I think
all right, what is this? Oh, is this our new advice column?
we have a new segment on the show suggested by a listener, and it is called Ask Greg and Mike, in which you ask us questions. It's an advice column. Mike and I have lived many years, and we have lots of wisdom that we've accrued in that time, and we would like to dispense that wisdom to you, our loyal listeners, with this new segment. So Andy from San Diego has written in. He said, I need your advice because I'm in trouble with my girlfriend. Last week, while listening to the best podcast in the world, I played my usual drinking game where I do a shot of liquor every time the host mentioned Bruce Springsteen or Bob Dylan. Well, 38 minutes, I downed shot after shot. I got so drunk, I called my girlfriend's brother a drag queen, stabbed her pet alligator in the head with a steak knife, and spent $3,000 on an OnlyFans model that homeschools her kids. Well, this guy is not taking our advice column very seriously.
No. Well written, though. I like it, Andy.
Thank you, Andy. Keep your letters coming. We'll get to them next week. Here's some other letters to the editor.
All right.
This is from, ready for this, the original Joanne.
Come on
She says,
now.
Hey, I really need to thank you for all the Joanne references in the past. My family, friends, and I get a real kick out of it. And to think it started with letting you guys know I have a crush on both of you. Joanne.
And the present tense. She has a crush on both of us.
Has a crush.
Yes.
So she's had it now for over 3 years. An unrequited crush.
Wow. I think
Now,
with
that's
me
weird
it's
that-
unrequited, but
So is it quited?
yes.
So we have crushes on her, too. So it's a quited crush.
Do we have crushes on Joanne?
Of course we do. She sent little emojis of lips kissing us and hearts.
Okay. Yes, we do have a crush on her. So the crush is requited.
Thank you, Joanne.
Yes. Irregardless of irrequited.
Here's Mary Bennett, who wrote a fun email. Hey, Greg Fitzsimmons Gremlin. Because of you, I find myself often drifting into questions about a huge variety of unique topics. The most recent is the faces of royals. Throughout all time, people kind of have a similar look to some animal in the animal kingdom. For example, for you, I see a small horse with large teeth. King Charles resembles what? Possibly an odd insect that only eats things that its mommy, the Greys, kill. Sunday Papers just keeps getting better. PSS, befriend Dogwood. I think it would be super hilarious if you did him for Halloween. Sincerely, Mary Bennett.
All righty, Mary.
This one comes from, well, this is pretty long. Are we going to read this whole thing?
You put it in there, pal.
No, let's do this another time.
You dumb horse with large teeth.
Let's get to the obituaries.
And that's all, folks.
Linda Kasabian was a Manson family member who helped put Charles Manson behind bars as a key witness for the prosecution. She died at the age of 73. She became associated with the Manson family at the age of 20, bringing her young daughter to live with them on the Spahn Ranch. It was only a month after she joined them that Manson and his followers murdered 8 people, including actress Sharon Tate. Though Kasabian didn't participate in the murders, she drove other members to the scenes of their crimes. She later turned herself into authorities and agreed to testify against Manson and his followers. She was offered immunity from prosecution in exchange. Her testimony was considered crucial to the convictions of Manson and several of his followers. After the trial, Kasabian changed her name and attempted to avoid the public eye, though she gave occasional interviews. I wonder if Tom O'Neill talked to her. Should we ask him?
Well, it was funny. Dickie, our buddy, who knows Tom too, was like, I assume Tom is rifling through all her belongings, somehow talked his way into her house.
Oh, I'm sure.
Up in Oregon or, Portland, I think.
All right,
or somewhere up there, somewhere in the Northwest.
Let's see if we can get Tom on the line.
Oh, wow. All right.
Tom.
What's going on?
Well, we're recording Sunday Papers right now, and we got to the obituary section and saw that Linda Kasabian had died, and we're calling to find out if you ever spoke with her.
No, I spent about 2 miserable weeks in the Tacoma rain in a shitty hotel trying to get past her daughter to talk to her, and her daughter wouldn't allow it. I stalked and fucking followed and basically staked out the house, and I never even got a glimpse of her. She got away with a lot of lies. That's why she wouldn't talk.
Really? What did she lie about?
Oh, you're not reading my social media post. I put one up last night, and I'm finishing another one today. Her own lawyer told me. Basically, she said what she had to say to get immunity, which was that Manson ordered the murders when no one else would say it because he didn't.
So that's the only smoking gun?
You mean to show she lied?
No, to show that he committed the murder, that he ordered the murders.
Yeah. In the obituary in the New York Times, Bugliosi said without her testimony, we couldn't have convicted Manson because he wasn't at the Tate house when the murders happened. So they had to show conspiracy, and the only way they can do that was to get someone to say that he sent those killers to the very house where the murders happened, and she was the only one that would do it.
Wow.
Yeah. The lawyer told her to say it, and he said, if you don't say it, you're going to go to the gas chamber.
So Charles Manson would be free today if it was not for Linda Kasabian.
Well, I don't know if he'd be alive today, but yeah, he wouldn't have gone to prison. I got this guy on tape, her lawyer, telling me all this. I'm literally in the middle of getting it ready to post, hopefully by dinner time.
I love it. All right, well, people can read your post by following you. What's your handle on Instagram? Or are you talking Twitter?
No, you go to Instagram. I don't know, just it's like Chaos Manson the book or Chaos Charles Manson. I thought you guys have like 10 producers there doing this work for you.
He doesn't know his own goddamn handle?
You don't know your own handle on social media?
No, because I got different ones for my different platforms, and they all kind of sound the same.
Oh,
so
boy.
I'll mix them up a bit. But just Google my name and Instagram or something. It's not important.
All right. And
Are you going to Gibbons on Sunday?
What's on Sunday at Gibbons?
You're on that text. He's inviting everybody over to do something. I don't understand what they're doing because I never heard of the word before.
Dice.
A game or something.
Oh, it's that dice game we've been talking about. Okay, yeah, I'll do that. I'll
We're
see you
gonna
over there on
harpoon
Sunday.
fish on a
Don't
big,
forget, buy the
electric
book
screen.
Chaos by Tom O'Neill.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Hard at work.
I can't believe you didn't meet her. That's So the daughter that's protecting her is the one that was a baby when she took that daughter to live with fucking Manson. I wonder if she's forgiven her for that.
Yeah, and also I had a lot of questions based on that call. So Manson didn't. I thought he did call for the murders. And then secondly, wasn't she afraid? Like Manson said he was still controlling people from inside prison.
Yeah.
And I believe him. I think he still had very, very avid followers and who would do whatever he said. And I wonder if she feared for her life.
He could have gotten them to get the fish, to get people gambling on the fish for prison. All right, let's get to the funnies.
All right.
Scott Adams, hundreds of newspapers announced they will no longer carry Adams' work. They're severing ties because they can't support, quote, any commentary rooted in discrimination or hate. Penguin Books will no longer publish his upcoming book that was due out in September. This is all sparked by a YouTube live stream posted in February where Adams referenced a Rasmussen poll that found only a slim majority of black Americans agreed that with the statement, it's okay to be white. That's a weird question. That's a fucking loaded weird question.
Yeah.
Adams went on to accuse black Americans of being a hate group and advised white people to get the hell away from them. The cartoonist says Adams has a long history of spewing problematic views in the past. He has inaccurately described people who are not vaccinated against COVID as the real winners of the pandemic. He also questioned the accuracy of the Holocaust death toll. Another of Adams' claims is that he had lost multiple job opportunities for being white. Oh, did you, Charles? With the fucking stupid cartoon in hundreds of newspapers? Did you lose out on a job? Was your rent hanging on that?
Jesus, the creator of Dilbert is what jobs has he ever applied
that's
for
what I'm
since
questioning.
Putting out that piece of shit comic?
It was funny for a minute. Like there was like a moment in time where it was matching. Like, remember that film, The Office?
What?
Remember The Office? Not The Office. Office Space.
Oh yeah.
It kind of reminded me of like what was funny about that, about how corporations were, making people feel like numbers, and it kind of tapped into that, but then it just wasn't funny.
Yeah, he has a long history of spewing unfunny comics.
Yeah.
That's what he really got.
Speaking of funny comics, here's and Hagar the Horrible. The king is sitting on the throne. He looks worried. He's got his scepter in his hand, and one of his minions runs up and says, "Sire, Hagar and his men have breached the castle, but the brave kitchen staff have stalled their advance." And in the second frame, you see Hagar and his guys all sitting at a table, and the cooks are pouring soup into bowls, and they look nervous, and they're feeding them, so that's staving them off. And in the third frame, the king sends his wife to slow them down even further from getting to his riches.
Is that made up?
Yes.
There you go. All right.
Never a good joke when your co-host has to say, "Was that made up?"
Well, no, I'm wondering if there was a third frame. It does seem a little incomplete also, so I was wondering about that. All right, there was two. I'm going to just read one. So VBK.
You have to say the name of the comic strip.
This is The Far Side by Gary Larson. And next week maybe we'll do Richard McCabe Jr. sent one in, but VBK sent one in, which I think is particularly funny. And so it's a street, and you see two houses, neighboring houses, and on the right is Doreen's nursery. There's a sign that says Doreen's nursery, and there's babies outside in the front yard, like in a playpen, and a crib type thing. And then next door, it's Ed's Dingo Farm. Ed Dingo. A dingo stole my. What is it? Took my baby.
A dingo stole my baby. A dingo stole my baby.
A dingo. Yeah.
And the dingoes are just lined up on the fence. It's a chain link fence they can see through, and there's about a dozen dingoes with their front paws on the fence.
Focused, just not taking their eyes off the babies. It's
I love
so funny.
Ed's Dingo Farm.
Well, because I think it's like, because the way they say it, right? A dingo, a dingo. Anyway, that's what I read into it that much. It was
Denman
anyway,
just put
so
this
funny.
in. A dingo ate my baby is a cry popularly attributed to Lindy Chamberlain Crichton as part of the 1980 death of Azaria Chamberlain case.
Yeah. And then popular movie, right?
Yes, it was a very popular movie. I think it was a TV movie.
But that line, screaming that out in that heavy accent.
Isn't that funny how certain lines become so famous? Like, you could still use that line today from a TV movie from probably 4 decades ago.
Yeah.
Seinfeld made it bigger.
Ah.
Keep typing. Elaine says it in a popular episode.
There you go.
All right, speaking of popular, here's a hot young blonde woman whose name is Blondie.
Oh, boy.
She is wearing 2 shades of green today that complement each other. The bosom sticks out beyond the right arm, even though you're in a 45-degree profile shot.
That is pretty impressive.
And Fuckface is sitting in a blue chair with his hands in his pocket. It's not enough that he's slouched in front of a TV. He's got to have his hands in his pocket. Just the epitome of lazy sloth.
What
And
did
she
he
goes,
even get dressed for?
"Dear, would you like to take a walk with me? You know how much I'd like this woman to ask me to take a walk with her?" And he goes, "Sure, honey." So they start walking, and then he goes, "It'll be nice to stretch the old legs." And then all of a sudden, the final frame is him stopped in the kitchen, refrigerator door open, and she says, "I was thinking farther than the kitchen, dear. You fucking useless piece of shit." She wants to go outside in the sun. You can walk down the street with this hot piece of ass, this 10 on your arm, showing off, just flexing in front of everybody in the neighborhood. And instead, you're going to have a fucking liverwurst sandwich again.
Liverwurst. I think she was going to have him. I think she hired a hitman. And she was taking him on a walk. Yeah, I'm starting to see stuff in these strips here.
Okay.
And I think it was very important. Like she had to take him out the back way. They were going to walk down the street a certain way, and a car was going to take him out.
All she have to do is, once the car is driving down the street, you take like a piece of liverwurst and you throw it into the right into the street. He'll chase after it, get mowed down.
Yeah, or maybe it's a food truck, and all they do to kill him is he's chasing it so fast they just have to jam on the brakes. He smashes right into it and dies.
How do we get in touch with Blondie? How can we break through this plane of existence and get in her head and give her these plots?
Yes, there are easy ways. It could be a whole Lifetime movie. Lifetime is packed with movies like this.
Yep. All right, well, listen, people. Get involved with the podcast. Tell your friends. The podcast is growing. We want to keep putting the word out. Go to Apple Podcasts and give us nice reviews and comments. That helps us out a lot. And share the love. We want to also remind you about the St. Patrick's Day show, March 17th, and also Philly Helium Comedy Club, March 9th through 11th. Come out and see me. Mike, anything you want to plug?
Yeah, the first half of Groundhog's Day. It's great.
Till you get to Florida. It's great.
Yeah. So anyway, no, nothing really.
Okay.
Just Costa Rica. Unplugging Costa Rica.
All right.
Wonderful
good.
country.
We want to also thank Midcoast Media, our fine friends over there, Key and Chris Denman and Beth Hoops and John and everybody else that makes the show possible. And I guess we'll see you guys next Sunday.
Yeah. You mean in the podcast?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because how far away is St. Patrick's Day?
Well, today
2
is
weeks?
This Sunday. This Sunday. This is the 5th, so it'll be 2 weeks after this. A week from Friday.
All right. So,
Yeah.
we're going to do that. All righty. So, I think everybody should just take it easy.
Take it easy.
All right.
Sunday papers with burning light. Get out of bed, turn on the light. Grab some coffee and sit right down. Turn up the volume, don't be a clown. You're an a man, does it again. Is it a crime or is it a sin? It's Sunday papers time again. Sunday papers. Sunday papers. Sunday papers. Sunday papers.